So let's begin standing. Just take a few moments to turn your attention to your body, to turn your attention to your breath. Could you think with every inhale of gently pressing your feet into the ground so that you feel your calves and your thighs and your glutes engaging? Can you find this idea of lengthening through the top of your head? With every inhale, you begin to gently resist gravity. With every exhale, you allow yourself to drop back onto your support, onto your bones. And can you feel if this inhale is arching yourself, or if you could find a lengthening so that you do not spread your chest now and you do not bring your shoulder blades together? Could you bring your hands to catch your head with the fingers looking to the back and find this movement of gently pulling on your head with every inhale, so that it's your hands now that pull at your head? With every inhale, your feet press into the ground and you allow your hands now to gently, gently lift your head, feeling the lengthening of the neck. Now with this movement, can you feel what happens to your pelvic floor, to the muscles in the bottom of your pelvis? Could you, with your inhale as you rise through the crown of your head, engage your pelvic floor? And you're pushing into the ground in order to erect yourself. And you exhale and you release your muscles onto your structure, onto your bony structure. You inhale to resist gravity and elongate. You exhale to release into gravity. Finding the circle of your breath. Very nice. And let that go and have a rest, and interlace your fingers now, bring them in the back of your head. Inhale to open the chest to bring your shoulder blades together. So now your inhale becomes an arching. You inhale and gently arch. You exhale and come back to your center, and you find now this movement we've been doing so many times. Fingers interlaced behind the head. You inhale and slide your shoulder blades together, feeling the chest widening. And as you do, you press through the feet without any pressure in the lower back. Again, you inhale to widen and lengthen. Can you find this idea of lengthening in this gentle arching now? And can you think of widening forward so you do not back bend, you do not feel pressure in your lower back? You widen your chest and you continue to lift through the crown of the head. Very nice. Taking your time to find the breath and allow it to dictate the rhythm of your body now. And let that go and have a rest again. And come on to your hands and knees to cat's pose. We'll be here for a while. If you need to, you can fold your mat or even have an extra little padding. And as you move your pelvis a bit forward and back, you will find that there is a place right underneath your knee where the shin bone begins, where you can stand and feel the weight of your leg, not on the joint of the knee, but a bit down, right underneath it, where your shin begins. So find this place where it is easy and comfortable for your knees, and And stay there for a few breaths. And can you think of doing the same thing we did when we were standing? So you allow your shoulder blades to come together and you allow your chest to open. But now it's dropping towards the ground. Very nice. Keep your elbows extended. Don't bend your arms. And feel, how are you going about to bring the shoulder blades together? Do you feel like going in an inhale or an exhale? And for a few moves, synchronize your breath in a way that's comfortable for you. So with every breath, you can feel your shoulder blades coming together, the chest expanding, dropping into the floor. And can you reverse your breath now and see what happens if you go the other way? So if you were inhaling to bring the shoulder blades together and drop the chest, can you do it exhaling now and feel what changes in the musculature and what changes in the sensation and how it is for you now to expand, to widen the chest in this position, in this relation to gravity? Very nice. And then the next time your shoulder blades come together, can you allow yourself to really release your belly and release your chest? Elbows locked now. Can you allow your spine to drop towards the ground? So that now the arms are the pillars and the thighs are the pillars of your bridge. And the whole spine is suspended between them. Can you find a way to allow yourself to drop more into gravity, softening the belly and softening the ribs? What does your head want to do? Does it want to stay high or does it want to lower as well? And do you want to release your neck between your shoulder blades as well? Can you think now of inhaling and lifting through the top of the head to look in front of you, and then exhaling and allowing the head to drop down again? And as you inhale, to look up right in front of you, no more. So you do not want to feel the back of your neck crunching in order for you to look towards the ceiling. You look forward. A bit more forward than where your mat ends. That's it. And you lower it. And you do it by inhaling. You lift the head. Can you feel its weight? Exhaling and releasing. And can you feel what happens to your chest and what happens to your belly? As you raise your head, does it seem that your belly is dropping even more to the front? Could you inhale and push your belly out? See if actively pushing the belly out makes the head a bit lighter. And then for a few movements, can you exhale and lift your head? So your shoulder blades are together, your chest and belly is dropping towards the floor, is released. And what you do now is you exhale to lift your head. And can you sense now if as you exhale, you can feel your shoulder blades pressing into your ribs a bit more? So use this movement of the lifting of the head to allow your shoulder blades to push out air from your trunk. With every exhale, can you allow your mouth to open and exhale through your mouth now instead of your nose? So you press your chest down as if the muscles around your shoulder blades were pressing your ribs towards the ground. That's it. And last time. Very nice. And you can bring one hand on top of the other in front of you on the floor. Bring your forehead on your hands. Draw your pelvis back to your heels. Have a rest in comfortable child's pose. If it's easy for your hands and head and spine, you can allow your hands to come near your feet, next to your pelvis. Whatever feels more comfortable now. Find child's pose that is really relaxing for you. And as you find now this child's pose, can you feel where is your breath now? Can you sense the movement of your breath all along your back ribs, behind your shoulder blades? Can you feel your back expanding now? Could you actively expand your back as you inhale? And can you sense the length now of your spine from the top of the head to the edge of the tailbone? And could you imagine this arc that is your spine now, lengthening gently with every inhale? So you're not only expanding towards the ceiling, but you're also lengthening yourself. And you exhale and you release your weight to the ground. And you inhale, and as you expand through your back, can you feel a little bit of lengthening? Very nice. And come back to cat's pose. Palms underneath your shoulders. Find a position where you don't feel the weight on your knee joint, but a little bit behind on the shin. As you exhale, can you push now through your hands, push through your knees and round your back? So you find the cat's breath now. And you find it from your belly and from your ribs. Inhaling to release to gravity. Exhaling, pushing through the hands and feet. Push into the ground. Engage your abdomen, engage your belly. Can you feel your belly button lifting towards the ceiling with every exhale? Can you allow your head to follow the movement and gently drop? Keeping a soft neck. And the next time you exhale and round your back, can you stay there? In a place where you can continue to breathe softly, quietly. Can you feel the space between your shoulder blades? Can you feel the roundness of your spine? In this arc that is the spine now, which is the highest point of the arc, which is the place that's closer to the ceiling. And very, very gently now, can you begin to bring a little bit more weight towards your hands and then a little bit more weight towards your shins. So you allow your pelvis to go a bit forward and a bit back. And as you do, you pay attention to this arc that is your spine. Can you feel how this shape changes? As you come forward, the arc feels more intense around your shoulder blades. As you go back, you begin to feel it more towards your lower back. So play around with this small shift that changes the way your spine is shaped. Very nice. Belly engaged, soft breath. And can you bring it back now and see how far back can you bring your pelvis, keeping this rounded shape? And find the place where you can go back and stay now. Feeling your lower back lengthening, feeling the connection throughout your hips to your tailbone. Stay here for a few breaths, lengthening your lower back. And let the rounding go. Let your Pelvis, come to the heel, find your child pose. Hands under your forehead or near your pelvis. Find a place where it's comfortable for you to stay for a few breaths. And as you breathe in again, can you pay attention to this soft wave now of expansion through your back? And can you feel as you expand and inhale maybe a little bit of lengthening from the crown of the head to the tip of the tailbone? Can you remember the sensation of lengthening we had when we were standing up? And can you begin to feel it now, lengthening your neck? With every inhale, finding a little bit of space between your vertebrae. And come back to your cat. We've been exhaling to round. Let's do it the other way now. Can you think of inhaling, engaging your abdomen, pushing through the feet and shins, rounding your back towards the ceiling? So now you use your inhale a bit more actively and try to find a bit more active movement in this rounding. So you inhale and expand your back. Your belly engages. Where do you feel the movement? Very nice. And you exhale to release the gravity. And you inhale to resist gravity and push through your hands, push through your feet. Very nice. And let that go. And can you find a place where is this middle ground now? You're neither arching nor rounding. You're in this neutral position for your spine. Your head is too. Your tailbone is too. Could you, with your exhale, keep your shoulders and ribcage steady and only find the rounding in your lower back? So you exhale and round your lower back, dropping the tailbone only as far as you can without moving your ribcage. And as you inhale, you turn your pelvis in order to lift your tailbone up. But do that only as far as you're not rounding the rest of your back. You're not changing anything between your shoulder blades. Your ribcage is steady. It's a lot smaller. It has to be a lot smaller. Can you find now a way where you turn your pelvis without turning your ribcage? Very nice. And let that go. And just for a few breaths, can you do the opposite? So now you engage your belly, you keep your pelvis steady, you only arch and roll the ribcage. Can you keep your pelvis still, completely still? It has to be a smaller movement. But can you see if you can find it? This way of only arching the upper part of your body. Very nice. And let that go and have a rest in child's pose. And feel your breath. Can you feel the breath in your back? Can you feel it more in the upper part of the spine or in the lower back? There is always a preference in activity. For some, it's easier to move and think of the arching as the upper part of the body, and for some, it's drawn towards the lower back. Now let's try something else. So come back to your cat. And can you think with your exhale to side bend? But I don't want you to turn your head in order to look towards your knee. I want you to keep your head still. So now as you exhale, you bring your right shoulder towards your right hip and your right hip towards your right shoulder. Very nice. And you inhale to center and you exhale, closing the left ribs. You bring the left hip towards the left shoulder and the left shoulder towards the left hip. Very nice. So your pelvis is kind of wagging at the tail, right? So the top of the head and the tailbone turn towards the same side. Very nice. So this is side to side, right? Can you make it very clear? You side bend on one side, you side bend in the other. So you have the arching and the rounding, and now you have the side to side. Can you think now of your ribs and begin to draw a circle? So you arch, and then you side bend, and then you round, and then you side bend, and you begin to draw a circle. Keep your elbows extended. Don't bend your elbows because it will skew your movement. And draw a circle with your rib cage. That's it. So you're pushing your rib cage out in every direction in 360 degrees. Very nice. How is this circle? Can you change it up now? And can you change directions? Very nice. Excellent. That's it. And let it go and have a rest on your back now. You can turn on your back. Let's rest our knees. And have a few moments to feel your breath here. How do you breathe? Can you feel the expansion now in your fronts, in your sides, now that the weight is on your back? Now let's find cat's pose again, but this time the cat is on its back. So you extend your arms towards the ceiling, you bend your knees in thighs vertical, the knees bent in a right angle, in a 90-degree angle. And now can you think of exhaling, and instead of pressing your hands and feet towards the ground, you press your hands and feet towards the ceiling. And find out how it is for you to cat on the floor. Can you feel the shape of your spine? Can you feel yourself rounding? That's it. And when you were exhaling, your tailbone was dropping down. Now it's lifting up. The top of your head was dropping down. Now it's lifting up. Can you press through the back of your ribs onto the floor? Very nice. And interlace your fingers and bring them to the back of your head. And can you continue to find with your exhale this cat movement of arching and rounding and pressing? Very nice. Is it clearer now, this arching movement? Can you make it so now that you do not lift your head more than your tailbone? You want to round the exact same way as you were rounding when you were in cat's pose. Can you remember that arch? Can you remember which was the highest point of your arch? So you engage your belly and you lift your tailbone and you draw the pelvis back. You roll the pelvis back, that's it, to find this way of arching that is the exact same way you arched when you were with your hands and feet on the ground. And it takes out all this idea of crunch, of trying to lift the head more than the pelvis. Very nice. And the next time you round, can you find a place where you can stay there? Which means a place where you can stay and breathe. You're rounded, you press into the floor, but you still breathe. And can you sway your feet a bit forward and back now? Sway your knees so that you begin to gently roll on this arc that you've created. Very nice. Is it an arc continuously so you don't feel your lower back lightening? It's a clear arc. That's it. Very, very nice. And let that go and have a breath on the floor. And bend your knees. Catch the inside of the knees with each hand. You inhale on the floor. You exhale, you allow the legs to push. Can you arch and round exactly the same way and come up to sit, allowing the feet to pull you as if you were a chariot? You inhale sitting, you exhale to roll, finding again this arc. So it's this rounding of the back that will allow you to roll easily. Do not pull on your head. Make it super slow, half the speed you're doing it now. So you begin to exhale, you feel that your legs are tugging on your hands and each hand grabs its knee, and you feel that the thighs pull on the elbows and pull on the wrists, and they begin to lift you up. And if you look between your knees, it's easy for you to roll up. That's it. You inhale in sitting, you exhale in slow motion back down. So you use your exhale to roll. It's not momentum. Very nice. You connect all the points in your body. You don't have to pull with might. It's about synchronizing. Very nice. And the next time you come up, you stay sitting. Your feet are in the air. They're not touching the ground. That's it. You inhale in sitting. You exhale, pushing down through the sit bones, lifting your heels, lifting through the top of the head, full boat. You inhale in sitting. You exhale to round back. So one breath is the rolling, one breath is the boat pose. You inhale on the floor. You exhale to round up. You inhale in sitting. You exhale, pushing down through the hips, folding the hip joint, lifting through the crown of the head. That's it. You inhale sitting. You exhale to round back. Now remember the front of the sit bone. It's right there next to your pubic bone. So as you are going into full Navasana now, full boat, can you think of folding through the hips? Follow the rhythm of your breath. You use your exhales to roll up and down. You use your exhale to lift your feet in boat pose. Very, very nice. And you have so much stuff now to pay attention to. The folding of the hips and this rolling, very nice. And last time you come to sit, that's it. Can you think of keeping yourself erect? Don't round back when your feet lift. Lift through the top of the head. Bring the shoulder blades together. Very nice. And the next time you round your back, you drop to the floor and you can stay there and keep your knees together towards your belly and allow yourself to go now a bit from side to side and allow your weight to go from one hip to the other and from one shoulder blade to the other, softening. That's it. Very, very nice. And let that go and have a breath. Bend your knees, stand your feet. Feel the weight in the back of your pelvis. Can you begin now to roll your pelvis so that the weight in your back begins to draw a circle on the floor? Very slow now and very easy, very soft. Just allow your belly to soften. Just feel this rolling and sense which part of the circle glides, which part of the circle feels that takes a little bit more effort. Can you work out the kinks? Keeping your knees relatively unmovable, feet on the floor. And can you turn now your direction? Can you turn to the other side and sense why you didn't choose this side? Very nice. Just for a few breaths. And let that go. Feel your lower back. Now, as you are with knees bent, can you bring your hands together towards the ceiling and begin to draw a circle? And can you feel now the circle of weight that rolls around in your upper back now? So it's the same idea of what you were doing with your lower back, only now you feel the weight sliding in a circular fashion between your shoulder blades and your ribs. Can you make it soft and easy so that you don't feel your hands moving, but you're able to sense this rolling movement of the weight on the floor? And now every place you push into, can you think of pressing a bit more onto the floor? And can you change directions? Very nice. And let that go and have a breath. And again, feel your shape and your contact with the floor. Bring your hands again together. And what you're going to do is you're going to be using your exhale. So now you inhale. And then as you begin to exhale, you begin again to draw this circle, only this time you use your exhale to press into the ground. So as your hands turn and you feel the turning, you press into those spaces in your back where the weight goes to. And when your exhale is done, you keep your hands where they are, you stay, you inhale, and then you use your exhale to begin to turn again. And you don't have to do one circle for each exhale. You can do half a circle or you can do a dozen circles. It doesn't matter. Just go with what you feel will allow you best to use your exhale and actively press into the ground. So you use your exhale to turn around and press into the ground. You stop every time you need to inhale, and you continue to circle around throughout your exhale, trying to find this idea of pushing into the ground with your exhale, of using your exhale, and as the weight rolls and shifts from place to place, you push down actively. Very nice. And can you change directions? How is sliding from this side? And let that go and have a breath. Feel the places where you expand to inhale if there are some places where you get heavier as you exhale. Open your hands wide now, shoulder height to your sides. Bring one knee on top of the other, cross your feet right over the left. Tilt your knees to the left. Allow your knees to roll your pelvis just as far as it's comfortable, just as far as it is easy for your knees, for your lower back. Find a place where you can stay, feeling the weight of your knees gently pulling throughout your spine, twisting yourself. Can you allow yourself now to breathe and sense what happens to your back now? Could you think of inhaling and gently pushing a bit out through your belly button, allowing your lower back to gently arch? Could you, for a few breaths, exhale and draw your belly button in? Just a very, very tiny movement. And can you feel if the engaging of your belly is rolling your pelvis more to the side or if it's hindering the movement? And what happens to your lower back and what happens to your ribs? Very nice. And as you are, can you begin to gently turn your head now? And as you turn your head, can you pay attention how far down your spine can you feel the movement of the head? Very nice, and let that go. Bring your head back to center. Very slowly bring your feet back to center. Both feet flat on the ground. Have a breath and sense your shape, the weight in each hip and in each shoulder blade. And let's change it up. You turn over to the other side. You drop your feet. The left knee over the right, knees to the right. You begin to breathe, and can you think of gently pushing your belly button out with every inhale, feeling what happens to the lower back, to the position of the pelvis. Very slow and very soft, just hints of movements. Very nice, and then begin to turn your head from side to side, and as your head rolls, can you feel how far down your spine you can sense this rolling? Can you feel it between your shoulder blades? Very nice. And let that go. Bring your head back to center. Bring your feet back to center. Now you can cover yourself with your blanket, or you can make it into a roll and put it behind your knees. Just take a few moments to find comfort here. For a few breaths. Can you settle? Could you, with every exhale now, find again this idea of allowing yourself to surrender to gravity? There's not much to surrender, you're already there, but can you think now with every exhale of allowing your contact with the floor to widen? Just like a drop of ink widens, spreads on the paper. Could you allow now with every exhale for your shape to spread on the floor? Can you allow the floor to support your structure, your muscles and your bones? Can you allow more of your musculature to soften? We often think that the first moments we contact the floor that we are relaxing, but it takes a bit of time to adjust to this sensation of support. Can you sense around in your body where is there unnecessary tension? Where are the places where you could spread a bit more? And you can bring your exhale there and use it to release, to spread on the ground. For a few more breaths. Keep your attention in the sensations in your body and all those subtle rhythms that we don't usually pay attention to because we're too busy moving around. The movement of your eyes behind closed eyelids, the movement of your breath, your pulse. And very slowly, can you lengthen your legs and bring your arms above your head, and with a few exhales, can you begin to lengthen again? Bringing about movement slowly, gently. Taking your time now. Taking a few more moments in order to observe yourself as you wake your body up.